American Democrats seem unable to grasp how they lost the last election. And not just lost, but suffered a sweeping defeat across the House, Senate, and the White House. The root of this loss lies squarely with the Democrat leadership in Congress. Many everyday Democrats were not only unaware of their leaders' talking points, but also blind to the fact that the party was undergoing a fundamental shift towards socialism and communism. They didn't realize that they'd been hijacked by far-left liberals. I've tried to sound the alarm for years. In fact, ever since I left the party for greener pastures and, well, plain common sense. I've been warning about this transformation for years now, but I've given up on trying to convince liberal Democrats. Frankly, they've lost their minds. They're stuck in the same loop, and they're not coming back. But here's who I haven't given up on. The average American Democrat out there. The one who's not deeply involved in politics, just working hard, trying to feed their family, live their life. They need to take a closer look at the Democrat politicians that they've elected. If they really listen to what those in the Democrat leadership have to say, like AOC, Alejandro Mar, Rashida Tlaib, Anita Presley, Jasmine Crockett, Cory Booker, Hinkam Jeffries, and even Nancy Pelosi, if they listen to what they're saying, they might wake up. They'd either vote these leaders out or they'd walk away from the party completely like I did. Take The View, CNN, and MSNBC as a good example of what I'm trying to talk about. These programs exist for one purpose and one purpose only: to amplify and repeat the talking points of the Democrats up in Congress. Their idea of what's best for the country doesn't align with everyday Democrat voters out there. I truly believe that. So I asked you to pay attention to what you're about to see and hear. Yes, there's mixed in satire, but the message rings true. And I hope that you'll wake up, or you'll be in for another harsh lesson come midterms. And honestly, listening to the Democrat leadership, that's not a bad thing at all for our country. Because America is not and should never, ever become a socialist, communist nation. Listen up.
I had family members who voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I'm from Ohio. We had to have those conversations. But when you're in an authoritarian slide, it becomes a closed system.
Yeah.
The leader is the source of information. So when you're inside of that circular information system, then it's very hard to talk about anything because there's no basis in fact.
Well, Carrie, first of all, I'm sorry about your family. I bet you're not easy to deal with. But your side, including you, judging by your words, you strongly believe that your country is run by an authoritarian or a king. And that's what we are being told by the news media and people on this show. Yet somehow you are allowed by the king to protest no kings. So I would say you might be inside a circular information system that doesn't have basis in facts, no?
This is really the first time that I can think of where there has been a break with from the MAGA base with Trump that has lasted this long. I think it's awfully entertaining. I also want us not to lose focus, though, that this is about girls and women who were raped, harassed, victimized by Jeffrey Epstein, over 1,000 of them. And absolutely, we need to see the truth.
Well, let me say this. The way Trump's Department of Justice handled this whole thing, first they had the list, then they didn't, and now there is no list. Very sloppy. And to anyone out there waiting for any bombshell on Epstein, don't hold your breath. Either there is nothing or there is something, but it's being protected by people way more powerful than any president, okay? But when you talk about Epstein and that we need to see the truth, Joe Biden was in office for the past 4 years and no meaningful progress regarding Epstein was made under his watch. You didn't question it. You barely even covered it. At least Trump voters have been very consistent on demanding answers. Then, when Joe Biden was president, and now when the guy they voted for is president. And the only reason you and the Democrats are suddenly interested and want to know the truth is to push the notion that Trump is on the list and that's why we're not seeing the list, which is just another dishonest tactic. Since if there was anything incriminating on Trump, Joe Biden would have just released it and guaranteed winning the election. And you know that. You are a low IQ, but not that low IQ.
We'll be right back.
77% of Americans in 2023 said Joe Biden was too old to run again. And they were told, sit down, shut up, he is the nominee. And then when it became untenable and he stepped aside.
But wait, Alicia, when Americans were watching Joe barely being able to walk and put a sentence together, every single one of you at this table were telling them not to believe what they can see and what they can hear. You and your friends in the media constantly rejected those concerns as disinformation and cheap fakes. Remember that one, Joy? Cherry-picked clips to mislead the people? You said that. Sonny, you even said those concerns were rooted in ageism. Just like how you connect everything to sexism and racism. You're a race hustler, you know that, right? So, when you say Americans who noticed his decline were told to sit down and shut up, just for the record, you too were doing the telling.
How important are movies like these at a time when LGBTQ plus rights are really under attack?
Yeah, I mean, it is...
Excuse me, I gotta step in here for a moment, Sonny. Just to make sure that everyone is on the same page, can you give me one example of an LGBTQ right in America that's under attack? Just one example. I mean, I think we all agree it's such a heavy claim to say that LGBTQ rights, which by the way are the same rights as everyone else, but to say that it's under attack, you've got to at least have one example to back it up with. So what is it? Anyone? Joy.
We'll be right back.
Him tweeting out an AI-created image and the White House official account of him posing as the Pope is disrespectful, it is frankly disgusting, and it is outrageous. And so all of those devout Catholics that voted for Donald Trump, I think you need to ask yourself some questions, and I think you need to ask the White House and Donald Trump some questions, because Trump, Mr. President, it's His Holiness, the Pope, not his oiliness, the dope.
And you're a sanctimonious joke. But look, the bigger picture is right here in my pocket, and I will pull it out. This is Rihanna dressed as a pope. Olympics 2024, mocking Jesus Christ's last meal. Over here, camera, over here. Don't run, because Trump only posted a meme. But these are actual photos, and I don't see that same energy of yours, Anna, when it comes to Hollywood actually mocking God. This is Madonna on a cross as Jesus Christ.
We'll be right back. Why does Trump like to pardon rappers? What is that about?
I think he likes celebrities. I think it's
NBA
fame.
YoungBoy, Lil Wayne,
Yeah.
and Kodak Black, and now this. What
I
is
think
that?
he sees people who have fame and followings as people that if he pardons them,
People
they're
with
going to go
power.
out and spread
Yeah.
his message. The Chrisleys.
Excuse me, did you notice what you just did? This show looks at every single action taken by Trump through a race filter, because obviously Trump is a racist, right? Yet weirdly, when you talk about the pardons, you didn't say black rappers. You just said rappers and celebrities with followings. And I would add to that that Trump's criminal reform in his first term freed around 3,000 federal prisoners, 91% of whom were black. So my question is, how do you manage to call Trump a racist 24/7 on this show when your only proof is your mind reading of Trump? Yet when the reality, not you reading Trump's mind, but when the objective reality shows that Trump is the most pro-black president, you hide it from your viewers.
South African President Ramaphosa paid a visit to the White House yesterday, which turned into a surprise presentation on conspiracy theories of a white genocide in his country. There is crime, as there is all over the world, but it is not about killing off white people. This is just straight up bull.
Well, Whoopi, I find it interesting that you and your producer cut out the clips that Trump showed to South Africa's president, but it's your lucky day. I got a couple of my own. You always make me pull it out, you know that, right? But it's okay. So let's take a look here.
Shoot to kill. Hamasa. Kill the poor. The farmer. Kill the poor. The farmer. Brr, pa. Pa. Brr, pa. Pa. Okay, shoot.
Brr pa. Kill the boer, kill the farmer. And weirdly, 90% of the farmers in South Africa are white. So tell me what that means. And by the way, I wonder what will happen if a group of people in US sing something like that about certain group of people in US. But this is the current president in South Africa, the one that just met with Trump.
The question of land, the land of our forefathers and our foremothers must return to our people without any fail and without any payment of compensation. And it must happen now. The question of land.
I wonder whose land should to... Stop. I wonder whose land he's talking about that he wants to take without compensation. But again, that's for you to find out about.
We'll be right back. And my other question is, why is this important to know now? We got a lot of stuff to be concerned about at the moment.
When is Jake Tapper going to write a book about the cognitive decline of the person who is in charge right now?
Okay, so Joy, when you do the "but the other guy" thing, you need to at least have a legitimate point, just so you don't sound ridiculous. Trump is cognitively sharper than everyone at this table combined. And trust me, my presence here is the only thing pulling up the average. But to your question, Whoopi, why is this important now? Well, you and your side keep screaming, no one elected Elon Musk. Which is a ridiculous thing to say since the president, Trump, put him in charge of cutting wasteful spending. But even if we take your no one elected Elon Musk serious, you're basically saying that you care about democracy. You don't want people who are not elected to run the country, which I understand and I agree with. But if you're consistent with your logic, then you should also have a problem with the reality of Biden's handlers, including an autopen, not elected by the people of this country, running the country while Joe Biden was checked out. But you don't have a problem with that. You say it's not important. So either you are fine with unelected handlers running the country as long as they are on your side, or the more likely option is that you're cherry picking your principles to fit your narrative, which is why your credibility has been declining way faster than Biden's cognition.
You cannot remove us. You cannot wipe us out, whether we're gay, straight, Asian, black, female. You're not going to be able to get rid of us. We are here. We are Americans.
I don't think anyone is trying to wipe your liberal coalition. You're chemically castrating yourselves. You are the party of abortion, and you're having less kids while conservatives are having more. So you're wiping yourselves out. And I would say more power to you. Your body, your choice.
LGBTQ people are in every family. We're in every workplace. We're in every church. And we all need to be treated with respect and humanity and have equal rights.
Yeah.
And we don't still in this country.
Well, Sarah, in 2024, your organization collaborated with Joe Biden's White House to label those who oppose certain transgender policies, like, I don't know, chemically castrating children, as violent extremists, despite no evidence linking those people to violence. You have also repeatedly pushed and continue to push for censorship of voices critical of those same policies. So, given that you make over $500,000 a year doing that, and straight out lying, like you just did, saying LGBTQ people do not have the same rights as everyone else, which you exploit to raise even more money, my question is, how do you sleep at night?
I would offer specific evidence, if we had time, exactly what I got done when I was supposedly lost my cognitive capability.
I'm sorry, you mean what the autopen controlled by others in the White House got done when you lost your cognitive capability, but go ahead.
You know, one of the things that well, I shouldn't say it. Anyway, I can be short.
No, go ahead. We have time.
I'm actually interviewing for a job as a cameraman.
Okay. Good luck with that.
How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world?
Yeah.
Did you get any of that?
Anyway.
That was great. We're going to take a break.
I think Democrats are finding their way with these younger voices. We saw it in New York for the new mayor who calls himself a Democratic socialist. You know, he's very progressive. Wow. And that we're seeing, I think, this sort of new generation of leaders that are unafraid and they're on the offense.
Okay, let me just put things into perspective for a moment. So we have a socialist communist who has openly posted about wanting communism. In fact, I got the fine print right here. You can read this if you want. And he wants communism in New York for some reason. And whose current platform is to raise taxes for white people in New York. That's kind of racist, won't you say? But the fact that you are looking at that and you are cheering him, I think is the reason why shampoo bottles have labels that read, "Do not drink."
The Department of Justice is now prioritizing seeking to strip citizenship from naturalized citizens. I think that is something that people are sort of missing in this little argument. The Department of Justice is really looking at now denaturalizing citizens, people who are considered American citizens.
Wait, what's wrong with revoking citizenship? I mean, I get it. As a legal immigrant, it's not appealing to know your citizenship could be at risk, but this is not new or unique to Trump. Tons of Western countries take away your citizenship if you lie on your application or you commit serious crimes. And as a lawyer, either you didn't know that, which is pretty low IQ, to be honest with you, for someone with a law degree, or you do know that, but you don't want to mention it to your viewers to make Trump's policy sound like a scandal. And that would just make you dishonest. So which one is it? Low IQ or dishonest?
We'll be right back. You know who issued an executive order aimed at lowering drug costs. He didn't specify which drugs he's going to target or which insurance programs would be impacted. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, let me just go back. Whoopi, bringing down the price of drugs is an issue that even Democrats, your side, have been running on for years. Meaning Republicans, Democrats, everyone in the country, including every single one of you and your audience, you want this. And the fact that even when a Trump policy directly benefits you, you cry about it, you condemn it. Well, it doesn't make any sense. Out of sheer hatred for the man is utterly astonishing, to be honest with you. And I think it should be studied by psychologists because this is a mental issue.
We'll be right back. Let me show you guys something. I want to show you both. So all of it. Do you guys have it or is it not ready?
There we go.
Okay. So can you tell me which one is the riot in Los Angeles and which is the celebration for the Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
You
Where's
know,
the National
listen,
Guard?
In part.
I have a question.
Yeah. So, well, the difference is there's an agenda.
Okay. To spot the difference between those clips, the one from Eagles celebration, they have a long history of getting wild and sometimes out of hand, no doubt about it. But the clip that you handpicked, assuming it was your best card, shows people burning what looks like plastic bags and papers. Maybe you want the National Guard to save the papers, I don't know. But the one from California, which again, you handpicked, shows political riot and targeted violence against ICE agents and the law enforcement. And again, your own clip shows them torching police cars. So that's the difference.
Well, let me show you guys something. I want to show you both. So all of it. Do you guys have it or is it not ready?
There we go.
Okay. So can you tell me which one is the riot in Los Angeles and which is the celebration for the Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah. Where's the National Guard?
In part.
I have a question.
Yeah. So, well, the difference is there's an agenda.
Okay. To spot the difference between those clips, the one from Eagles celebration, they have a long history of getting wild and sometimes out of hand, no doubt about it. But the clip that you handpicked, assuming it was your best card, shows people burning what looks like plastic bags and papers. Maybe you want the National Guard to save the papers, I don't know. But the one from California, which again, you handpicked, shows political riot and targeted violence against ICE agents and the law enforcement. And again, your own clip shows them torching police cars. So that's the difference.
Well,
you know what bothers me when I see something like that is why are these ICE agents wearing masks? I mean, they're completely
well, they said COVID was over, so why?
Yeah, well,
why
during
are they
COVID,
wearing
a lot
masks?
of these people were
but why
objecting to
now?
the masks. They're wearing masks so that you don't identify them.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean?
That is very jackbooty.
Okay, Joy, so you have these agents lawfully enforcing immigration policy. And while that's happening, you have the far left media, including this show, calling it illegal, demonizing the agents, and further radicalizing the already violent far left lunatics. And those far left lunatics are out there taking pictures of the faces of those agents and posting them online with death threats to their families, their kids, and themselves. So obviously those agents are now wearing masks, which I understand it's not a good look. But as I explained, it's a norm that was set as a result of the way you demonize these agents.
We'll be right back.
I did Finding Your Roots, as a lot of people know.
I did too.
Yeah, and I found out some things.
They found brunette, by the way.
Yeah, they did. They did. They did. And a part that we did not air is that my father found out that the man he thought was his father was not his biological father.
When did he find out?
He found out during the taping. He was there with
Well,
me.
just for the record, Sonny, you also found out that your ancestors owned the slaves. And I believe you talked about it on the show at some point, but I wasn't here. So now that we're all here, you have constantly argued that white people today should pay reparations for slavery, even though they had no part in it and that many of their ancestors never owned the slaves. But now we know that your ancestors owned the slaves. So speaking your language and holding your own standards, you have a net worth of $6 million. And if you spend only 1% of it for reparations, which would be $60,000, you can pay $1,000 to 60 black people each. And although $1,000 is not a lot of money, I think it's enough for you to be a role model of what you preach. So I think now would be the perfect time. I can already see black people in the audience. So go ahead, pay your reparations. I'm sure they take PayPal or Venmo.
That image of a tattoo reading MS-13 was photoshopped.
Obviously photoshopped.
And it's done, it's quite obviously photoshopped.
He was not briefed that that is not a real image and that it was photoshopped.
No.
Yeah.
He doesn't even recognize his own fake images at this point.
Joy, whooping. No one has said that it's not photoshopped. The MS-13 text was added as a translation of the actual tattoo symbols right below it.
The White House is looking into offering $5,000 cash bonuses for women to have more babies.
When I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births, but that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
It's just based on a study. So I just leave that with all of you.
Well, Sonny, if you are worried about white Americans reproducing more children, perhaps you should encourage black women not to have the highest abortion rate in America.
Did you see this, and what was your reaction to it?
Well, first of all, I thought if he's a Star Wars fan, he should know he should be holding a green lightsaber. Not an evil red lightsaber. So my comment was proof positive he's full of Sith. You got to do it with humor, I think. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Mock him. That's the kryptonite to malignant narcissists.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure this will surprise all of you, but that photo right there, that's a meme. People make memes. They put them on the internet, and sometimes Trump himself, or in this case, his staff, posted one of them on the White House account. And just like that, all of the people, you lose your sense of humor and you have a meltdown. To the point that you literally slapped a AI-generated label on it as if people would look at that and think Trump is a Star Wars character. So, looking at all of this, you don't seem like you're having fun with it, especially considering that your entire timeline on X looks like a therapy session for Trump derangement syndrome.
I do want to point out something, that he came in and Obama left him quite well off, left the nation well off. And Biden also left the country very well off. See, folks have to remember, we are very fickle in this country. We forget, you can be mad at one side or the other, but you have to stick with the facts. And the facts are, we left good stuff he has pooped on it.
Right.
He has now taken us to a place where people are just being removed.
Illegals, Whoopi, when you say people are being removed, they are illegal immigrants and they are being deported. But about the timeline you just provided on the state of immigrants under the last 3 presidents, yes, Obama left him well off. He deported more illegals than Trump. And I don't think we're supposed to mention that. But the same trend continued under Trump's first term, and then Biden got in. He got in, opened the borders, and we saw the highest number of border crossings in US history under his watch. And now Trump is cleaning that up. That is the actual timeline, okay? So, I find it ironic when you say, we forget what happened and we need to stick with the facts, while at the same time you rely on selective memory and you distort the facts.
People who are trying to pay their taxes and do all the stuff that you are expected to do as an American are pissed because you don't know where your Social Security check, when it's coming, if it's coming. We're like, they've been trying to sort of keep us off kilter.
Well, Whoopi, almost every single week for the past 7 months since Trump has been in office, on this show, you keep repeating the same, well, people don't know where their Social Security check is and when it's coming. Yet the fact is that throughout these same 7 months, Social Security payments have been made as usual, without any evidence of disruption or delay due to Trump's policies. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask, why are you gaslighting the American people, Whoopi?
We'll be right back.
What's happening is horrible. When you are threatening U.S. citizens that you don't like, that you're going to take away their citizenship, naturalized ones, when you are talking about birthright citizenship and taking that away, this is about making America white again.
Well, I would say if he's trying to make America white again, he's doing a horrible job, since his deportations are way less than your favorite president, Obama, who's pretty black, I would say. And on naturalized citizens, we talked about this before. Many countries revoke citizenship if you commit certain crimes or you lie on your application. And on birthright citizenship, over 100 countries, that's more than half of the countries on the planet, many of them in Europe, either don't grant it or they restrict it. So aside from lazy race baiting, you don't have an actual argument. But then again, we are on The View, so that's expected.
I'm 56. I've seen a couple of presidents. I've never seen so much theater in these cabinet meetings. Isn't serious stuff supposed to be occurring in these cabinet meetings?
He's a reality.
Listen, it's just not normal for the media to linger only so that they can listen while the cabinet people effusively, like, kiss his rear.
Well, is holding open cabinet meetings now supposed to be a bad thing? You invite the media, you gather your cabinet, they talk about the things they've been up to, so you can directly communicate your updates with the American people whom you work for. It's called transparency.
We'll be right back.
You resigned from Congress in 2011 over a sexting scandal. 2 years later, you stepped down from the mayoral race after sexting again. And then in 2016, you sent lewd texts to a minor and served 15 months in prison, in addition to becoming a registered sex offender. Why should New Yorkers give you a chance at a political comeback?
All of that happened. I did these things. I got into recovery. I tried to make my life better. And now if I can be of service, and I'm a damn good politician, I come up with answers, I talk to people directly, then why shouldn't I? All I can ever be is who I am right now. Yeah. And that brought me to this space.
Okay, in 2024, while Trump was in court, you people sat here day after day and called him a felon, an evil person who should not be able to become president again. You still call him a felon. But also on this show, you're all about feminism. empowering women and railing against toxic masculinity. You even said that you get why women would choose a bear over a man in the forest, because obviously you can't trust men, right? Yet now, you've got a sex offender with a very sketchy history who's also a fan of Ducote A minor. You just read his record yourself. And you're not only giving him a platform to relaunch his career, but you're also cheering for him like he's a hero. And it looks like we're about to...
We've got Donald Trump and Elon Musk chainsawing their way through the Department of Education, trying to cut public education in this country, chainsawing their way through the Veterans Affairs
Department. You don't think it could be part of
Department?
why Trump is in office? Maybe if voters felt like they didn't get a real look from your party, or maybe the president could have dropped out of the race sooner, or maybe the president could have dropped out of the race sooner.
It's not a media failure. This is a failure of the Democratic Party. And I just sort of the virtue signaling that some people have done to try to say that the media missed this story. They didn't miss this story. David Ignatius wrote, I just refuse to accept this stupid premise because it's a right-wing, manufactured right-wing premise in order to stain the media. The media's got plenty of things to attack them for, and there are MSNBC and CNN and pundits that absolutely carried water for Joe Biden. It's not
2 months ago, the American people elected Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States of America. Thank you for that very generous applause. It's okay. There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You see?
And that is the fundamental difference there.
Because despite the claims by House Republican leaders that the American people have fallen in love with these extremists in the House of Representatives, and so they're acting upon a mandate, give me a break. The only reason that House Republicans even have a majority right now is because they stole 3 seats from the people of North Carolina.
They stole 3 seats from the people of North Carolina.
The majority that Republicans have can be explained solely by the fact that they cheated in North Carolina. These people have zero credibility. It's okay. There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. The only reason that House Republicans even have a majority right now is because they stole 3 seats from the people of North Carolina. These people have zero credibility.
There's something wrong with her, okay?
He needs to come home. This is about due process.
I'm vouching for the man's rights.
I want to believe that the Democrats care about rights and due process. I really do. But before we get into it...
And tonight, lawmakers urging the Biden administration to provide explanations for the disappearance of 85,000 migrant children.
85,000 immigrant children are missing, and now lawmakers are calling on the Biden administration for answers.
We're talking about children that we simply cannot find.
And Joe Biden's administration doesn't know where 85,000 of those kids are.
Do you really think that you're helping these children by releasing them to labor traffickers and, yes, sex traffickers?
I did not then, and I still don't see the Democrats fighting for the rights of 85,000 missing children not to be trafficked and end up in horrible places under the Democrats' watch. So obviously I must assume that this guy has something that the 85,000 missing children do not have. Maybe he's a genius, a revolutionary, or a prophet. Yet, no justification on earth could excuse the Democrats' decision to fight for him and not the 85,000 missing children. an act so morally bankrupt it defies the conscience of humanity. So what is it? Let's make the case. The illegal immigrant versus 85,000 missing children.
According to the police report, the detective picked him up with 3 active members of MS-13.
He is certainly tied directly to the MS-13 gang.
He was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat, which the detective says means they're members in good standing with MS-13.
That's it. That's the guy the Democrats are fighting for. Oh, wait.
And I know this is a sensitive question, but I have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay.
So, he was in the country illegally. He's a MS-13 gang member. And he beats his wife. When I look at the Democrats and their media, go all in on due process and the rights of this guy, while they never brought the same energy to the rights of 85,000 children who gone missing under their watch, I don't think they actually care. And talking about due process, Joe Biden should have one for allowing those children to be smuggled into the country and trafficked.
You have it? Okay, I'm being told we have it. Thank you. Run it, please.
Excuse me, to protest. Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
That was President Trump saying that very fine people were marching alongside neo-Nazis and skinheads and white supremacists.
I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis. Believe me, not all of those people were white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
This is a president who said there were, quote, very fine people on both sides in a Charlottesville neo-Nazi Klan march in Charlottesville, and his infamous reference to very fine people. There were, quote, very fine people on both sides of that Charlottesville, Virginia march. And candidate Trump, I tried to get him 3 times to condemn David Duke. He wouldn't do it.
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
A lot of people think that he has a soft spot in his heart for, or at least won't condemn, white supremacists.
As I said on Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has...
You have it? Okay, I'm being told we have it. Thank you.